I honestly wish somebody would have told me how overrated it is to own a home. My fiance and I just sold our house. We are back to renting. I'm ecstatic. He's ecstatic. We're saving so much.
I am selling my house and losing probably about $20,000, maybe more, but let's hope not.
People all over the country are being forced to sell their homes. And it's not just because of the mortgage payment. It's debt, burnout, unexpected bills, and honestly, flat out regret. If you're not careful, the same thing can happen to you. What happens when you're being crushed by debt and you feel like there's no way out? Let's find out.
6 weeks ago, my husband and I decided we were going to sell our house and move our family of 5 into a 2-bedroom apartment to pay off $70,000 of debt. And no, the debt was not from our mortgage. The debt is a few different things, student loans, you name it. We have lived in this house for 4.5 years. We were able to buy it at only 24 years old, but only because there was a special grant in the area that allowed us to pay like zero down. We were super broke though. We've always had some financial issues because we got married young, had kids young, all that fun stuff. 2 years ago, we completely changed our financial journey and we started paying a bunch of debt off. We did start out at $100,000 of debt. And this was kind of the final push to pay the rest of it off. We just kind of want to finally be done with the bondage so that we can move on and make better financial decisions. So we will be renting for 1 to 2 years, and the sale of our house will pay off all of the debt, and we can save up for a down payment on a house, and we are just completely done with credit cards. We're completely done with not buying things in cash, and we just really want to change our kids' future and live like no one else so that we can live like no one else. So follow along to see how we can make this work living in this 2-bedroom apartment with 3 kids.
This is a huge sacrifice, and I respect them for taking this step to eliminate $70,000 in debt. Now, the bright side is they're both under 30, and they hopefully have time to reset and buy a home again someday. Some people might feel like a 2-bedroom apartment is too small for a family of this size, but the reality of it is many families live in even tighter spaces and they make it work during tough seasons. And it's not easy to share something like this publicly. And so what I hope you take from this is it's okay to start over, even if it's emotionally tough in the moment. Like I said before, in most cities and surrounding areas, it's often cheaper to rent than own a home. And this could give them some breathing room to rebuild. So do you think they made the right choice by selling, or do you think they should have tried to hold on to the house? Let me know what you think. Just because a home's been in the family for decades does not mean it's safe. The next clip proves that.
TikTok, I need your help, and I need your help quick. I'm currently outside of my grandmother's home that she has had since the 80s, and right now it is being sold by the state. It has been confiscated due to unpaid nursing bills by my aunt who was staying here in the home. This home is a staple to my family and I, and it's just an asset that we have, and we're losing it. I don't know how to go about this at all. I don't know. But this, I grew up here. It's almost like we're just losing everything, and I want to be able to save something to pass down in my family. My grandmother worked hard getting this home, and I don't want to see it go like this. So if you know any resources, I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to help me save this home, please comment, DM me something. I don't know how much time we have. There is a lockbox on the house, so we do not have access to get in here. We were given a few hours over the last couple of weeks to kind of go in and find things that, we wanted to take.
One thing I need to make very, very clear. If you haven't already, get your affairs in order. That goes for homeowners and that goes for renters. And if you have elderly family members, make sure their affairs are in order too, especially if they own a home. So what's happening here is called a medical estate recovery lien. And in summary, when someone uses Medicaid to pay for long-term care, such as a nursing home, the state may try to recover those costs after they pass away by placing a lien on their estate, including their home if they have one. So the home had been in their family for over 40 years. And it makes me wonder, was it ever transferred into the aunt's name after the grandmother passed? I feel like there's some additional information we just don't have. And sadly, in another video, she mentioned that the house is actually going to hit the market and they're hopefully trying to figure out a way to buy it back and keep it in the family. This is exactly why estate planning is so important. It can be costly up front, but working with a lawyer now can save your family serious money and serious stress down the road. At the very least, I suggest looking into a term life insurance policy and make sure your loved ones have life insurance too. Do you have life insurance? If not, that's okay, but let me know when you plan to take some action and get some life insurance. If you believe you're guaranteed to make money selling a home, the next clip just might change your mind.
I am selling my house and losing probably about $20,000, maybe more, but let's hope not. I'm sharing this with all of you because I have heard, oh, that never happens. People never lose money on the sale of a house. That's not true, especially if you purchased your house in 2022 or 2023 at the height of the market. I think if you're selling your house right now, dependent on what market you're in, you might be facing something similar. And I've seen a lot of people talk about that. But buying a house in 2023 or building a house like we did was what we thought was the best decision. We were paying a pretty high price for rent in the area that we lived. And it just made sense to build a house and have a mortgage that was a little bit more expensive. Home prices at the time were very inflated. There were a lot of houses that had multiple offers on them with people competing and paying well over asking. And we were also under a bit of a time crunch for locking in a mortgage rate that was at or below 5% because we knew that mortgage rates were going to continue to go up, and they have.
It shocks me that some people actually believe you'll never lose money when you sell a home. For example, if you buy a house that you can afford and sell it a year later and you paid full market rate, meaning that you paid whatever the going price was for homes in the area at that time, there's a good chance you don't have much, if any, equity. And equity is the difference between what your home is worth and what you still owe on the mortgage. So for example, if you owe $400,000 on your mortgage and the home is worth $420,000, then that means you have $20,000 in equity. So once you factor in closing costs and agent fees, you might break even or even end up having to pay money out of pocket just to sell the home. I'm also not surprised that her mortgage ended up being more than rent. Like I said before, in many major cities, it's cheaper to rent than to buy. Do you think home values always go up in the first few years after you buy? Let me know what you think. So there's a big debate about whether or not it's always the right time to buy a home. Let's take a closer look.
We heard from every single person that it's never a bad investment to buy or build a house. And that is simply not true in the time that we're living in. So now here we are in 2025, mortgage rates are very high. Home prices have stayed the same, but not as many people are buying. And unfortunately for us, we thought worst case scenario was we would break even, and that is not realistic. If you're thinking of buying a home, I tell you this as a cautionary tale that it's not always a good investment to buy or build a house. It can be. It depends on your financial situation, the market that you live in, and also how long you plan on staying in the house.
So I'm wondering, who told her that it's never a bad investment to buy or build a house? I guarantee you a real estate agent or lender probably told her it's never a bad time to buy. This is absolutely not true. And I'm saying that as someone who is a real estate agent. It's not always the right time for you. If you can't comfortably afford the mortgage and all the other expenses that come with owning a home, then it's not a good investment. Because if you can barely afford the mortgage and expenses, 9 times out of 10, you're going to eventually lose the home. Before you buy, I recommend having a fully funded emergency fund. So 6 to 12 months of your expenses, including housing, a habit of consistently contributing to retirement, and a solid working monthly budget. Now, this is a more conservative way to approach home ownership, but I want you to not just buy the house. I want you to keep the house and have peace in the house while you're living in it. And I do appreciate her transparency here. So if you were in her position, would you sell the home? A lot of people think you can just buy any house you qualify for and figure it out later. Well,
I honestly wish somebody would have told me how overrated it is to own a home. My fiance and I just sold our house. We are back to renting. I'm ecstatic. He's ecstatic. We are saving so much. We were really young and stupid when we bought our house, so I'll give you that. But the weight that has been lifted off of our shoulders is, I can't explain it. There is so much maintenance that comes with the house, and our mortgage was ridiculously expensive. I can't even say the number because I'm embarrassed. We are probably not going to buy again for a very long time, or at least until we find our forever home. Just a PSA, if you're not ready for the maintenance and the cost that it comes to own a house, don't do it. Take your time. Please take your time, find a good realtor.
What likely happened here is that they bought more home than they could actually afford. For example, just because you're pre-approved for a $400,000 mortgage does not mean you need to spend that much. I would strongly suggest looking for something that's more affordable, that still fits most of your needs, and that you can easily afford. At the end of the day, the goal is for you to stay in the home without the expenses causing you stress. Buying too much home makes that almost impossible. I think she'll be okay in the long run, and it sounds like she'll approach things more wisely the next time. So what happens when family moves in and then moves out? This next clip has some very important lessons. But first, I need you to hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to get better at real estate investing, you got to follow this channel.
So I bought my house 2 years ago because at the time that I needed to buy a house, my stepdad passed away, and me being the older sibling, I had to step up and do what I had to do. So before finalizing the paperwork, I got with everybody. We all agreed that we were going to share the cost of the mortgage. And let me just put it out there, my house is a 5-bedroom house. So before signing the paperwork, we all agreed we were going to pay. And in reality, all I asked everybody was to pay was $300 a month. Well, we moved in, everybody was happy, and less than a year, it only became 2 people living in this house, which is me and my mom. That was my first what the hell moment, but I had to do what I had to do, and thank God I have a good paying job. I never got behind on my mortgage. I was able to keep up with everything, including my other bills like my car note, cell phone bill, etc. So last October came, I went to go pay my mortgage, which was supposed to be $2,200. But when I opened the app to pay, it said $2,700 was owed. That was my second what the hell moment. So I was like, okay, what happened? So before I paid it, I called the mortgage company, and coming to find out, my taxes went up, which made my escrow go negative. And in order for my house note to go back down, I would have to pay $2,200 back into my escrow so that it can become even again.
So when she says they agreed, I'm curious, was this a verbal agreement or did they actually sign a lease? And if they didn't, they should have. Now, it sounds like she can still afford the mortgage on her own, which is a relief, but that does not necessarily mean it's easy. A lot of people don't realize that property taxes and insurance can change over time, and they usually go up. So I recommend calling your local tax office before you buy a home to understand how taxes are calculated and how often they're reassessed so you can plan ahead. And you should shop around for home insurance every single year. Rates change and you might save a lot of money just by switching. I remember the first time my mortgage payment went up because of taxes and I was shocked. Luckily, I was able to afford it, but at the time it threw me off because I didn't know that they would go up. So later on in the clip, she did mention that she won't be rushing to buy a house again. And she encouraged others to have an emergency fund. That's good advice. All right. So here it is. Would you ever have family members as your tenants? I gotta know what you think about this. Some people achieve the American dream of home ownership and still end up regretting it. But why does that happen sometimes?
We sold our house to rent a new place. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but it was the right thing for us. Couldn't do it anymore. I realized at 41 that it is not a value of mine right now to own property. And the only reason why I truly did it is because I never stopped to think and ask myself, is this what I want? Is this a value of mine? I've owned plenty of homes. I know, sound very privileged, but it's true. With my ex, and it was definitely a value of his. And I just kind of went along with it. You know, he was of that mindset that renting is like flushing money down the toilet, and I never really stopped to really think if that was what I thought about what it was like to rent. Turns out it's not. I value more the freedom of not having to think about all the things that could go wrong in my house, and the fact that I am responsible for maintaining in replacing and fixing and all of the things that happens and comes with home ownership. I rather not have all of that and rent a place where all of those responsibilities are not mine.
It's important to know what matters the most to you. If homeownership isn't one of your values, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As much as I believe in real estate and home ownership, it's not the only path to building wealth. But what is non-negotiable though is some sort of investing. So whether that's in retirement accounts, index funds, or something else, because you can't save your way to wealth. You have to invest. I also don't think renting is throwing money away, because at the end of the day, everyone needs a place to live. Where I do push back a little bit is on the cost of home maintenance. It can definitely be expensive, yes, but that varies a lot depending on the condition of the house. Some people, I'm not saying she did this, exaggerate it and scare others away from buying a home when they could be in a good position to own. That being said, I really appreciate hearing her perspective. And at the end of the day, we're all different. For some people, peace of mind comes from renting and not being responsible for every little repair. For others, peace of mind means having full control over the home they live in. So do you believe that renting is throwing money away? Let me know. How far would you go to preserve your family's legacy? Let's hear an example of this.
Our mortgage is about to double when we save the family farm. TikTok, I need your help. My husband and I are trying to purchase the family farm, the place his grandparents built from the dirt up. To do this, we are selling our home of 14 years. But here's the scary part. When we buy the farm, our mortgage is going to double. That's why we are doing everything that we can to get ahead now. We are working to pay off $15,000 in debt before we sell, so that when we get the farm, our monthly expenses are lower. And this isn't even counting our house or cars. This is just a smaller debt that we need gone. To make this happen, aside from our 9-to-5 jobs, I'm doing everything I can to make extra income, including posting on TikTok on my lunch break. I am an Amazon influencer, a TikTok shop creator, and I am in the TikTok shop creator rewards program. I also just signed up for Like to Know It, so people can't say that I'm not trying. Every view, like, comment, share, repost, copy link helps push us out and helps move this dream forward. If you've ever wanted to see someone use TikTok to pay off their debt and buy their dream home, this is it. So drop a comment, follow along, and let's see if we can make this happen.
So I am a bit nervous that their mortgage will double, but if they get all of their other debts paid off, it sounds like it could still be fairly affordable for them. Hey, I respect that they're working to keep the family farm, and that kind of commitment means something. What I do hope is that they have a plan for what they want to do with the farm. It's a large estate, and they're hoping to purchase 37 acres of it, which is a lot. She mentioned turning it into a hobby farm in the comments and going from there, and ultimately, I wish her and her family the best with that plan. Would you do what she's doing to keep a property in your family? Honestly, if I was able to, I think I would. So every homeowner's journey is different, and sometimes that path includes eventually selling. But the key is being intentional with your decisions, knowing your numbers, and building a life based on what actually works for you. This will help you to ensure that you buy a home that you can actually afford, which I'm going to continue saying. If any of these stories hit close to home, just take them as a reminder. It's okay to start over if you need to, and it's okay to pivot. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments if you haven't left them already. If you've been thinking about buying a home but don't know where to start, or you're just tired of feeling stuck, I want to personally invite you to check out Keys Within Reach. It's a community I built for people just like you, first-time home buyers who want real guidance, practical tools, and a space to ask questions without feeling judged. The doors are officially open, and if this feels like the right next step for you, the link is in the pinned comment. I'd love to see you inside. Now that you know about why homeowners are being forced to sell, I want you to learn about how to avoid home buyer's remorse. Check out this video right here.